So you do have a demo option, but like the least risky option, well, not the least, the second least, you know, you're tracking your pads. You would have like 40, 50 boost right now, and you're staying right here. Because on defense, especially at a high level, when people learn this game, you have back post, you have front post, you have corner, and that's like your goal line, right? That's like your rock of a defensive rotation. Then you start getting backboard. And then eventually, like around the Grand Champ levels, you get midfield. The midfield becomes a coverage zone. And what happens is, look, you know, you got ding dong 1, ding dong 2. You left the midfield open. So if this ball somehow went to the mid, that's a free shot. It is your job as a first man to either demo, control boost, track your pads, cover the midfield, or like, let's say you cover that midfield, you stay right here. Now you're an extension to play with teammate, or maybe teammate can't play the ball and you cut that ball up the sidewall to do your mechanics. We got Fitz. Holy moly, haven't seen this many submitted replays in weeks. Yeah, we do have a lot of replays this week. I think we have 15 total, which is great. That means people like what they're getting and like what they see. We actually, side note, have grown the community a lot, so welcome if you are new. Really hope I get squeezed in. Of course, I always get the job done, you know. Oh, it's not Los, it's RSC. Gotcha. Another league. All right, we got Cozy. This will be around Champ 3, Grand Champ 1. I would put this Grand Champ 1. Let's call it that. I think that's a good average. Supposedly the two players that, good job sinking that shot. Good. The two players that Fitz is playing with are supposedly the best players in his division tier for RSC. But Fitz, I always say you need more confidence. I think you're good. I think you play a good job. You're a very quick player. Very, very quick. And that's why last week, just for context, we talked about drive challenges. I might show some examples of that, Fitz. I still think that's a natural extension for your playstyle. Good ball control. Really good. Probably my favorite thing in here, Fitz, was your ball control as a first up the field. I think we're very much up and down. Let's take a look at this, Fitz. Very much up and down. Just with this play example, and I'll see if this continues. The up is good, transition ball control, but then it's like create your offense, rotate, get back down. I'm not looking for pressure, but I'm more so looking for, and we'll see if this continues. Okay, do your thing, right? Why do we got to rush back this way? Like, why can't we maybe track our paths if this guy gets into our POV demo, or maybe this play develops, our teammate gets ball control and we take this mid, or maybe we track our pads and cover the mid to block this player. Why do we just, you know, just like drive into the wall? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of making a bad joke right now, but I feel like we're very much up and down. It's not necessarily like widen your rotations and rotate here and get wide, or I don't know what it is yet. I just get a vibe that it's, we're moving the ball up the field well, and then I guess the word I'm looking for is rush back to defense. But it is, I've mentioned this word today, autopilot. This is autopilot for sure, which we'll see if this continues. Like right here, it already continued. We're going to talk about this, Fitz. I'm going to give tons of examples, okay? Because all of this is how to be a better first man. Your job is a first. Get the ball out. Great offense, right? Like, that's your job. You're doing that well. Play your defense, aggressively challenge the ball, get the ball out, create offense. That's your job. But then, like, your job doesn't end as a first in today's meta. It used to end, right? You got bumped, you're a first. You got bumped. Your job's not done. It's not get back. It's steal some boost. It's read the play. If you are a hyper competitor, it's lead comms. I used to do this thing with my RLCS team where we try to train our comms where you are the comm. So you are, we never had an in-game leader, but you are the communicator. Why? Because you have the biggest POV. You are saying, all right, he's got a touch, he's got a 50. Watch this, watch that. Because if you look at these players' POVs, I mean, he sees one opponent. This player sees all three because they're the third man. But I mean, you're the one leading comms right now. It's a POV thing. You have the best vantage point. You see everything on the field. But as we rotate back, what's happening, it's autopilot. That's the route. And also, I don't know how we didn't get any pads. Like, we have 13 boost. Anyways, we'll build this out. What's bugging me is the autopilot. That's the biggest thing. Because, like, you rush back. Why are you back post? Like, why do we have 2 players in a position? If you want to rotate back, why aren't we getting this? Why are we even gonna rotate back? Your teammate's moving the ball up the field. So that's the autopilot. I'll break down a bunch of plays for you, but for this play specifically, you got bumped, you're out. We'll go via risk level. You want to be super risky where you have no read on the play, go take this boost. That would be the riskiest because the play hasn't developed yet. All right, a little bit less risky, but in always track your pads. Whatever rotation, but track your pads, please. All right, they're there. Maybe, let's see, where do we go? Yeah, you should be getting this pad. Taking like this little widened rotation is like literally a quarter of a millisecond. I don't know. It's very quick, and you're a quick player. So we rotate back, and you're starting to see this play develop. The way I want your brain to think, Fitz, who is Cozy Boy, by the way, is what's the option? The only option is this. Like, that's the only threat. So unless you could teleport back there, there's no way for you to change this shot on that, right? No way. That was the only threat, and that's why you can take your time. All right, we just saw the threat be removed. Keep going on risk, depending on your risk levels, unless you think that this player is going to 50 this player and then beat this player and somehow score. I mean, that is an option, highly unlikely. You have the time to demo this, and if you don't want to demo, you at least have the time to push. So, like, if this player sees you pushing, they're going to, like, kind of panic. 100%. That's just what happens. So you do have a demo option, but, like, the least risky option, well, not the least, the second least, you know, you're tracking your pads. You would have, like, 40, 50 boost right now, and you're staying right here. Because on defense, especially at a high level, when people learn this game, you have back post, you have front post, you have corner, and that's like your goal line, right? That's like your rock of a defensive rotation. Then you start getting backboard. And then eventually, like around the Grand Champ levels, you get midfield. The midfield becomes a coverage zone. And what happens is, look, you know, you got ding dong 1, ding dong 2. You left the midfield open. So if this ball somehow went to the mid, that's a free shot. It is your job as a first man to either demo, control boost, track your pads, cover the midfield, or like, let's say you cover that midfield, you stay right here. Now you're an extension to play with teammate, or maybe teammate can't play the ball and you cut that ball off the sidewall to do your mechanics. Least risky option would be extending over here. Get the boost. Like, why do you have to play back post? Teammate has control. He's low boost. You have someone right here. You have the time to get that. So I'm going to show a lot of examples for this. Just keep covering options. All right. What are we going to do? Rotate. Good. Yeah, we're wide. We could have maybe tracked our pads and played right here and been able to play this. You did autopilot to this, but this will be a good example. Why? Because you got boost. You control the boost, even though it was our corner. Maybe as we move up in the world, I will rag on this, but this is better than the previous one because you're actually somewhat reading the play properly because your team needs a third man. You became the fill, right? You became the fill third man. All right, we're going to take our first man challenge. All right. Rotate back. Get our boost. That's not necessarily your fault. Like, yeah, you doubled with teammate. He doubled with you. You took his boost. That's just what happens. I'm not going to break that down. But then look, like, you just rushed through 2 players. And the easy game sense, Fitz, is this. You have boost. Your teammate has ball control. If you deem this or this a risk, you can take the risk. But it's not a risk. But if you think it's a risk, it's risky to chase that demo, even though it's not chasing. You have the time because teammate has ball control. The only reason for you to rush back right here is if you think your teammate is going to lose ball control. But you play at a high enough level where you can assume your teammate's going to at least get 1 touch. All right, took our first man challenge. And this will build. I'm kind of really going down a narrow focus on this, Cozy. I want it to be about this because we're building on last week's review about being a better first man. You're making other mistakes, but I'm disregarding them. There are other ways to be a better first man, but we're going down this path. Like, I would say the one mistake, we keep missing the ball as a first man, but I'm not covering it. Okay, I just had to say it because I can't help myself. What you did was fine. We got our boost. We played a back post. We filled a third man. I'll just continue to use this example. I do think outside of the demos are the easiest thing. The boost would probably be second easy, just like when you can extend for boost. But I think the hard thing that you should focus on is, which shouldn't be a hard thing, but it's your small pad rotations. I would focus rotations down the center of the field, your football and laces. You go for this if it's there, and getting here. We need to get here. I think this is the hard thing. We need to start covering the midfield more as a first man. I would even make it all about that, but you have lots of options as you rotate back as a first. We need this because, like, again, depending on your risk tolerance, like if your job is to cover the midfield because that is the pass, you can do so through a cut or you could just demo. I'm a big fan of demos. But see how, like, now this guy's unattested. Like, you could still be here. You could just be sitting here. And then what's great is, depending on how the play develops, you could go there. When you're here, you're only left with here. When you're here, you're left with this way or this way or this way. By being in the midfield, you can play aggressive or you could play defensive. But, like, what's happening with you is you're just, like, rushing back and playing defensive. All right. Keep it going. Good. I mean, demos are the bonus, man. Like, I would just, on a general level, add impact. I want midfield coverage, but, like, I want you to kind of shift your brain to, instead of it being, okay, I'm going to rotate back, become a third, it's rotate back and, yeah, this guy's getting demoed. Or I'm going to air bump him. Like, this player's a ball and you're just going to bump him. Like, be a nuisance on the way back. Be a nuisance. All right. First. Rotate back. Better. 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 Good. Good example. I mean, you just saw your POV, but get the Skycam POV. Why is this good? The biggest thing, it's midfield. And I think the easiest way to do midfield is pad rotations. Pad rotations also have boost. But see how we don't just, like, go here or go here? And what's great is you could do that even sharper, where here, here, here. And stay here. And be here. Or here. Like, you could sharpen that, but this is a good example. It's midfield coverage. This is more of like a concept type of week for you, Fitz. Like, this is a concept. This is a, not a strategy. It's just it's a new thing we're learning to be a better first. Like, you know how to be a good first on offense, right? Rotate across, look for your demos. Like, we've trained that in your brain. Get your corner boost, cut, shoot. We've trained that. Now it's like being a better first as we rotate back. We're a good first here up the field. We're good first here in an offensive rotation. Now it's being a good first as we rotate back to a defensive rotation. It's this transition. Good beat. That's your job as a first. Yeah, really good. That's why this review is what we're doing. It's because you're a good first, man. Yeah, man. Very good. You're good at beating players and you're good at playing fast. And over time, we're going to complete that play style.